I'm starting off with 2 A4 sheets of paper. This is just normal everyday paper, there's nothing special about it. It's pale grey because it's easier to see pale grey than bright white when I'm folding it for the video. But apart from that, it's just ordinary everyday paper. You can also use letter size paper. In fact, that will give you just a slightly larger box, but that's fine. The first thing to do is to cut these square. And the easiest way to do that really is to push it up against a straight edge and lay another A4 sheet across the top of it the opposite direction. And then whatever's sticking out gets cut off. Well, I'm just cutting a couple of sheets here for this demonstration, but you can cut a whole stack of it ready. So I've got 2 squares. Now the lid has to be bigger than the bottom to fit over the top, and there is an origami technique to be able to make them bigger, but that involves a lot more folding and it does get a little messy. So we're going to cheat and we're going to cut off about 3/8 of an inch, or about 8 millimeters. I'm just using my cutting mat as a guide here, but I'll not insult your intelligence. I mean, you're all woodworkers or wood turners or makers or crafters. I'm sure you can figure out a way of cutting off a strip of paper to make it square. And there we go. So again, you can cut a lot of these up ready, so you can have them up in pairs. And I'm going to start with the lid. So I've got my A4 that I've cut square, and I need to find the middle. Now usually you fold the paper diagonally in both directions, and where the crisscross is, that is the middle. But if we do that, we're going to have creases on the box that we don't want. So I'm going to use a ruler and I'm going to mark the centre by putting a crisscross from diagonal to diagonal. Now I'm using a bold pen here just so that you can see. You only really need to use a light pencil, but for the sake of the video, this dark pen makes it easy to see. The only measurement we need to do is from the middle outwards, 35 millimeters on 2 opposite sides. Why 35 millimeters? Well, just trust me on this. So I'll switch my ruler into millimeter mode and I'll put 35 in the centre, and I'll put a mark at 0 and at 70. There we go. Right, so let's start folding. The first thing to do is fold these points onto the mark that you just made, here and on the opposite side here. And if you can get your creases really sharp, that does help. So I'm going to use a technical device called a stick and press it down. Now we fold these sides into the middle and just take your time, line it up and then press it flat. Same to the opposite side, into the middle. Try and get them to just meet each other, don't let them overlap, and try and avoid a gap if you can. So that's what it should look like. We now take these points and fold them in so they land here just where these two corners meet. Now, it doesn't matter if it's not perfect there. What matters is two nice corners here and here. So if you need to give it a little bit of a tweak, that's fine, because it doesn't matter if that point isn't perfect. What matters are the corners. And it's the same on the other side. Now we've folded them in, we fold this edge in, and this edge will land on top of this intersection here. Once you get it in place, just check that you're nice and straight down that edge. That will make sure that your box is square. And of course, same at the other end. Just going to roll that a little bit. There we go. And we'll get that one in. Open them out. And then fold the long sides into the middle. Again, just check you're okay at the ends, that you're not splayed out. Press it home. And of course, same to the other side. Just get them to meet in the middle and then give it all some stick. And we're nearly there. What will help us fold the box into shape is putting a diagonal crease from this crisscross here to the corner. And that's easy to do because we can bend the paper backwards. Where there's only one layer in the middle, that's the weakest point. So we can just push it back and just pinch a little crease in. It doesn't have to be a fantastic crease. This will just help us fold the box into shape. And if I open these up, we're ready. So we stand up the two long sides, and then those diagonal creases that we've just put in, we give them a push. This side will lift, and then the rest of the paper folds inside and tucks down. And then it's the same at the other end. These two diagonals push in, the paper lifts, and we fold it right inside. And if we whiz around with the stick, we can get all the creases on the lip of the box nice and flat. Gives it strength, straightens everything up. And there we go. The bottom is exactly the same as the top, but because it's made from paper a little bit smaller, it just fits inside. So once the top and the bottom go together, it's quite a solid construction. And with this just being normal paper, you can run it through your printer and print anything you like on the paper. So there we go. A simple box just to present your pens in. Much nicer than throwing it in a paper bag when somebody buys it on your stall. Just adds that little bit of professionalism.